Hello friends, my name is Emile and welcome back to the penultimate episode of the Gran Turismo 2 Let's Play. This is episode 97, and in today's episode we're going to be doing the final international race, which is the Pacific League. For that we need a car from the Pacific, and luckily I have such a thing in my garage. I have this TRD 3000 GT. Now it's already been racing modified, already done all the modifications to it. We're running about 525 horsepower, 1289 kilograms, so it's a little bit heavy. But nevertheless, it should be a pretty damn good vehicle to drive. Now, I was going to do the customization on camera, but it actually turns out the Pacific League races actually have a lower horsepower requirement than the European League. It's only 542 horsepower in these races. And as you can see, we're heading to 3 tracks. We're heading to Midfield Raceway, Seattle City Course, and Laguna Seca. Let's get into the first race, which is going to the Midfield Raceway. Okay, we are on track with our Supra. I forgot to mention as well, I'm running soft tyres on this. Could have run super softs. Just decided to go with the standard softs in the end. Anyways, we are definitely bouncing off the old rev limiter there, trying to get this thing off the line. Our competition for the race, we have another Supra. Admittedly, his isn't race modified. A NSX. We have an RX-7, a Subaru Impreza, and a Dodge Viper. Bit of a weird choice of cars for this particular event, but nevertheless, I'm still pretty happy with that field. That's a pretty cool field, but they should all be crushed by my amazing Toyota, because I have an awful lot more power than any of those do, and I have 2JZ power, or 2JZ, I should say, because, you know, that's the correct way to do it and all. Ha-dee-da-dee-da. So I wanted to use this car, basically, since I got it, just because I actually saw the race mod for it. I think it's a really, really awesome race mod for this car. Not quite as cool as it is for the Civic VTI, but nevertheless, it is a pretty cool racing modification. This car actually looks like it handles pretty damn well as well. I've jacked the downforce up on this, just to give it a bit more of a fighting chance. Admittedly, that'll take away some more of our top end, but we don't really have much top end speed to speak of normally anyway, so yeah, it shouldn't really make too much of a difference. As you can see anyway, the acceleration is still pretty fantastic on this car. We'll probably top out about 275 kilometers an hour, I would say, but judging by the tracks, we shouldn't really get up to that sort of speed anyways, so it shouldn't really make too much of a difference. Yeah, like I said, the car's actually pretty nice to drive, and I do like Midfield Raceway. I do think we are probably going to run into this track once again in the sort of final World Championships, but yeah, still, Midfield Raceway is a very, very cool track to come back to. This was probably one of the better tracks in GT2. I definitely like this track an awful lot. You know, it's got some great sections to it. It's got some nice swooping corners. As this bit of the track, as much as I've crashed out several times on that barrier there, I'm still, it's still nice to go through there, and if you do it about right, it is a really, really awesome feeling when you get that corner precisely right. Admittedly, I don't do that often, but yeah, it's pretty cool once you get that exactly right. Anyway, we're on to our third and final lap. A 110.110 is not a bad time for that, actually. That's a pretty awesome time to get round here, I think, especially for the car I am driving. Admittedly, it's obviously not as good as the sort of times that you'd see from, say, a Nissan R390 race car, but it's still a pretty good time in my eyes. To be fair, this is actually going to be a lot shorter, I think, than the European League, because the tracks it's actually going to give us are, well, a lot shorter than the tracks that the European League gave our way. I mean, Seattle's probably the longest track of them all. Actually, I mean, I don't know, I guess the tracks would work out relatively same. I mean, times around here are basically almost the same as you get at, say, Rome City Course. That being said, actually, we're 10 seconds up on what we'd get at Rome City Course. That was a interesting way to take that turn, but nevertheless, a pretty solid turn, I think. I definitely could have ended worse. Yeah, this Supra is surprisingly nice to drive. I've driven some of the more crazy powerful cars, and they usually have issues, and this one is only running the Stage 2 turbo. I'm running all the other engine modifications on it though, but yeah, only running a Stage 2 turbo, because Stage 3 turbo took us to about 600-ish horsepower, Stage 4 turbo probably would make us touch 700 horsepower if we was to put that in the car, which is pretty insane. Anyways, we win 10 grand and we get a new car. Let's go and find out what that car is. Okay, there we go, that's the first race completed. Let's head into our garage and see what we have acquired. We have got a cool car. Wow. I am extremely happy with that car. That is a fantastic car. I love the FedEx 300ZX race car. It is a fantastic looking car. They added this to Forza a while back, and yeah, it's an awesome, awesome car. So I'm pretty happy with that one, and unlike in the European League, where getting the Japanese cars was a little bit strange, in this league, it's perfectly acceptable. Anyways, let's head into our next race, which heads to the Seattle City course. Okay, we are at the Seattle City course, and well, the competition looks relatively the same, although it appears a Corvette has come to join us. In fact, it actually appears like the grid might be a little bit different. Let's make our way towards the front of this grid and actually see what we have here. There is a Supra Impreza. Again, I think they've got better launch off the line, however, eventually my straight line speed just destroys theirs. Yeah, Corvette, RX-7, NSX, there is a Mustang, I assume that's an SVT, and a Subaru in this race, so no Viper. So there's not exactly going to be a runaway winner in this particular race. Also, I forgot to check the finishing order at the end of the last race, but meh, who really cares? So this is probably going to be the last time we see Seattle course, and if you ask me, to be honest with you, I'm quite happy about that because I do not like the Seattle course. I've spoken about it several times. Oh hey, Opel advertisements, a bit strange. Yeah, do not like the Seattle City course, really. It's just not my cup of tea. Again, as I've said before, city courses really are not my cup of tea. So I'm very thankful that this is sort of my last race on this for at least a while, because GT1 doesn't have this course in it. Neither does Gran Turismo Concept, and considering the next two Gran Turismo games I plan to play, yeah, we won't see these courses for a little while. And, well, if you ask me, that is definitely a good thing. Admittedly, once we get into GT3, then yeah, Seattle course will be back, and so in GT4. Didn't appear in Gran Turismo 5 or Gran Turismo 6 because it's geologically incorrect these days, but I'm kind of, you know, I'm not really mourning its death, let's just say that, because I was never a huge fan of the Seattle course. I will say this Supra has a mighty, mighty wing on it. I mean, look at that spoiler, it's fantastic. Admittedly, that's probably the only bit about the car which I'm sort of don't particularly like, well, other than maybe the wheels. The wheels are a little bit strange. But yeah, not really a huge fan of that spoiler, if I was to be perfectly honest with you. It's not the sort of spoiler you'd usually find on a Supra. It's a little bit too blocky and big for my liking, but I mean, I guess it's almighty wing, so I do have to give it credit for being almighty, but it doesn't really suit the whole Supra's rear end profile, I guess. The worst thing about this wing is someone probably has it on a real life Supra. To be fair, we was actually looking on Auto Trader the other day, and there was like a Goldie Supra which had a wing which was even worse than this. It had a horrible, horrible wing. It was not a good wing at all. Which, yeah, it's not very good. If you live in the UK, it's probably still on Auto Trader, so go check it out. Go look up Supras, and you'll probably find it. It is a truly awful, awful wing, and it's in an awful colour as well, because the car's like a goldy brown kind of colour. Not like an Alfa Romeo 145 brown, I'm talking like a Vauxhall Vectra. Actually no, maybe like one of those Astra Bertonis, because they usually end up getting resprayed. For whatever reason, people seem to really like those cars as like tuner cars and stuff. I've never really understood the appeal. Well, I've never really understood the appeal of Astras, but I've especially never understood the appeal of the Bertoni Astra, sort of making it a modified vehicle and all the rest of it. I mean, I guess I've come up with this theory, okay? The Vauxhall Astra, when people modify it, is basically like the American, or it's like our equivalent of the Dodge Neon, I guess. The only difference is no one rightfully takes the piss out of it, unlike they should do. I mean, I guess I used a bit of a wrong wording there, but yeah. People should take the piss out of them. They don't, though, for some reason. So yeah, the Astras are basically like Neons, or at least that's what I equate them to be. Oh, around there we go. Just basically drop it into a gear, let the revs bounce off. Engine braking, there you go. Of course, you can't really properly engine brake on this game because there's no clutch, but still, I mean, I guess you can engine brake. It's not a particularly safe way to do it. But again, no mechanical damage in this game, at least in the GT mode, so yeah. Apparently there is in the arcade mode, or at least that's what. Also, Opel and Vauxhall signs next to each other is a little bit strange, especially considering neither of these cars are sold in Seattle, let alone the entirety of America they're not sold in, so yeah, I don't really understand that signage, but there you go. Anyways, we're across the line in the Supra. Pretty good lap time as well, 1:30.96. I am proud of that. The NSX came second, Corvette in third, Impreza in fourth, RX-7 in fifth, and the Mustang is still running. Again, the Mustang, yeah, is at a little bit of a disadvantage when it comes to this course. Anyways, we get 10,000 credits again, and we get a new car again. Let's go and find out what it is again. Okay, there we go, and that is the second race of the Pacific League finished. Let's go and check our garage and see what we have in store. We have an RX-7 LM edition. Ooh, that's fancy. That's actually a really, really nice looking car. I like that a lot. Again, we've used too many RX-7s during this series, so I'm not going to rush ahead and use that, but that is a very, very nice car. I like that an awful, awful lot. Anyways, let's jump back into the racing because we have our final race of the Pacific League to finish. It's going to be at Laguna Seca, and yeah, let's get into it. Okay, here we are at the final race of the Pacific League, and once again it looks like the field has changed up a little bit, although not quite as much as it did at Laguna Seca. We have another Supra which appeared in the midfield race. Did a Supra appear at Seattle? I actually don't remember. We have an RX-7. I believe there's two RX-7s in this race. There is a Corvette. Oh wait, no, I think that's an NSX actually. There's an RX-7, there is a Corvette, an Impreza, and finally at the front, and probably the eventual winner of this race, we have an Honda NSX. Hello Harrison, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, we have an NSX, probably using a race car in a sports car event, you traitor. Yeah, well, it's not actually a race car, it's just a race modified car, so yeah, technically not race car, so I claim a pretty much leave of that one. It's fine, I think it's fine, I don't know whether you do or not, but yeah, I think this car is perfectly reasonable, and yeah, that's why I'm using it. Also, oh, you're iJust. Oh god, I keep forgetting. I really apologise. You should change your YouTube name, man. You can actually do that now. Change your YouTube name, you fool. Just joking. I was trying to get in your stream yesterday. For whatever reason, it said it was offline, which is a bit of a shame because I wanted to see some special stage Route 11, which I'm assuming you was at Rage. But for whatever reason, it said it was offline. So, yeah. Which is a bit of a shame because, yeah, I wanted to sort of see what I have to look forward to in GT1. Which is going to be eventually, anyway. So yeah, anyways, again, not a race car. I claim full. Claim whatever. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Laguna Seca, Toyota Supra, didn't spin out of the corkscrew, therefore I am best. Unlike in the Venturi Atlantique. So yeah, again, I think Laguna Seca is one of those tracks that appears in the final championships of the game, so yeah. Yesterday was a bad stream, bad stuff happened. Do you mean in terms of internet connection, or do you mean in terms of, like, the actual event itself? To be fair, my internet has been absolutely bloody awful the past few days. It's recovered just about now. I think it's because I finished GT1, by the way. Oh, it was Grand Valley 300 kilometers. Oh, you're on to TDU1. I'm so used to saying TDU2. Never played the first test drive Unlimited. To be fair, right, it looks okay. I wasn't a huge fan of the second game. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the open world, but the actual like game itself was a bit there. The handling wasn't particularly great. As he says, drifting a Supra around the corner about 90 miles an hour when I probably shouldn't be. There we go. I'm taking way much speed through there, or way too much speed through there, because that corner is ludicrously wide on this game for whatever reason. The actual day, something important happened. Oh, right, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, oh god. Supra. Hi, Supra, you can bounce me in the correct direction. You're a Supra, buddy. And it wasn't too good. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, at least you finished GT1, though. I mean, to be fair, the Gran Turismo 1 is a weird entity. I've never actually finished that game before. Everything's a championship, which is a little bit weird, so I am cautiously looking forward to that game. I'm not really sure what to think about that one going on, or going through, so yeah. All I do know about GT1 is I'll probably live stream the entire thing, just because it's kind of worked for GT2, it worked for London Racer, and people can actually give me tips on the fly if they want to about Gran Turismo 1, because again, it's an unknown entity. I've played it, I like it, but in terms of like strategies and making money and stuff, I actually have no idea when it comes to that game, so yeah, I'm going to kind of rely on the chat to teach me. Gran Turismo 1 is going to be weird. It's the first time they tried. Yeah, I mean, obviously. To be fair though, like, the game is surprisingly good. I really like what I've played of it. It's just, like, I'm not too sure on the actual game itself. Anyways, unfortunately I had a spin out, but a 121 isn't bad for Laguna Seca, especially in a kind of road car, kind of not road car, whatever. Anyways, there we go, and that is it for that event, and that is in fact it for the Pacific League. So now we can head straight on to the finale, the World Championships. Anyways, we get 10 grand. Before we do that, we need to go and check our garage, because we got a new car. Let's go and find out what that car is. Anyways, there we go, and that is it for the GT Pacific League. Our final prize car from the day is going to be a Drag 180SX. Oh boy. Oh boy, it's this car. Yeah, contrary to popular belief, I'm not going to be using this for the Gran Turismo World Championships because, indeed, if you've been paying attention and counting at home, we've gone through the Nationals, we've gone through the Internationals, and next time it's going to be the finale, the World Championships. Join me for that. You don't want to miss it. Anyways, that is it for today's episode of the Gran Turismo 2 Let's Play. I do hope you've enjoyed. And as always, thank you all very much for watching. My name has been the Real Emile, and until next time, farewell.